Dark Souls saved my life. Dark Souls saved my life. Dark Souls saved my life. This is a different type of video, a very personal one, but one that I think has plenty of lessons to be shared. Or at least I hope so. Spoilers ahead, of course. It's hard for anyone to talk about their depression experience because when we go through it, we often feel like no one else can understand. But a part of me believes that while each one of us go through it differently, we can still relate to each other and learn and grow from such experiences. That's why I'm sharing mine and hope that it helps you in any way. 6 years ago or so, I was diagnosed with clinical depression, but by then I had been struggling with it for a while, and to be honest, I really can't blame my old self. I was living in a crappy place that I hated, trapped in a destructive emotional relationship that was going nowhere. No job, no goals, and no clear idea of what to do with my life. A situation that now I've heard is similar to what many people go through every day. I did not know Dark Souls very well back then, but if I did, I think I would have found it relatable. Not to the Chosen Undead story, but rather to Wynn's story. I felt like I lit the fire of my life and saw it fade away slowly. And just like Wynn, in a desperate attempt to keep it alive, I sacrificed myself. I won't go into too much detail as to what exactly happened, what that sacrifice was or it meant. All I will say is that after it was over, I found myself hollowed, empty, just a husk of my former self, feeling desperate and cursed. And taking my own life started to sound like the only way out. Of course I was taking medication and therapy, but my life circumstances were still the same. My condition was not getting much better. If anything, maybe it was getting a bit worse. I needed to do something, but nothing appealed to me. I wanted nothing but to be left alone to rest. Maybe for the last time. But one day I found it. The trailer tickled something on my mind. A spark of interest, which is a rare thing when you are depressed. So of course, I obsessed over it. Dark Souls had to be on my life. And so just like it's difficult to describe what it's like to have depression to someone who has never experienced it, it's difficult to describe what it's like to play Dark Souls for the first time. In a way it's different for everyone, but at the same time I believe that everyone who ends up enjoying it finds in it a strange feeling of comfort. Somewhere in the middle of all the dying there is this warm calm, like you're sitting next to a bonfire on a cold night with friends. There's this sense of wonder, of things that are beyond that are worth knowing and exploring. And there's this promise, the promise that things somehow will get better. Dark Souls starts and you are just one more undead corpse rotting in a prison cell. When a mysterious figure literally drops a key in front of you, you now have a chance. But there's not much to see. The prison is small and secluded. When you find that mysterious person again, he is actually dying, and with his last breath he tells you about this mission he has, or had, of one day making sense of this undead curse, something that, according to legends, just the chosen undead can do. The mission is not to cure it, not to lift it, not to save the world or those that are cursed. The mission is just to give it purpose. A mission that seems small at first, but maybe after some thought, well... There is this well-known phrase of Nietzsche that goes something like, "He who knows the why for his existence will be able to bear almost anyhow." And I believe he is completely right. For that's the first thing that truly helped me from Dark Souls. After Oscar gives you this mission, the undead that is you becomes by its own free will the chosen undead of legend. And by doing so, gives his own existence meaning, his own suffering a reason to exist. In my life I needed something similar. I needed a why, I needed meaning. And to know it just by playing this game started to change things completely. But of course, life is harder than Dark Souls for some. Missions and purpose don't really fall like keys from the sky in front of you. Meaning is so rare these days that most people try to find it anywhere. But true meaning doesn't come from the outside. To assign meaning to things is only valuable if you realize that it's you who is giving them meaning, and not just someone that is accepting it. And in a similar fashion, meaning is something that only you can give to yourself. You can get inspired by anything, of course, but in the end, it's you who is getting inspired. It's you who is choosing their own meaning. I sometimes feel like patches is like life itself, always tempting you with some external thing, just to kick your butt when you go look for it. And when you go back to it, all it says is, no hard feelings, right? And does it again next time. But life, just like patches, is not so black and white. There are many shades of grey, and many reasons why everything happens, with patches and with life. This doesn't mean, to me at least, that life is actually hiding any secret meaning or calling for you, but rather that there are many chances that happen in life, all the time, to do things differently. Many chances between every time life kicks your butt to choose your own meaning, your own calling. And it's entirely up to you if you decide to take them. And if you don't choose, if you don't decide to take those chances, trust me, someone else will decide for you. And I found that the hard way. A few months after I discovered Dark Souls, with the meaning of it still in the mist, the person that I was having that abusive relationship with left me, and with them took my savings and even some material things. Be it out of need, mistake or mischief is something that I will never know, but the damage was done and I ended up worse than ever. I had to change medications. I switched therapists and ended up going deeper than ever on my depression. But Dark Souls was there, and I think that playing that game was the only thing that kept me going. It was the tiny ember in my otherwise completely dark life. It was the only thing that kept me pushing forward, if ever so slightly. And that's the second thing I learned from Dark Souls. It takes time and effort to go through a rough patch, and everyone knows that. But what most people don't know is that the effort has to be whatever you can give. It doesn't have to be this huge, earth-shattering effort. A tiny bit, especially when it's all you can give, is sometimes more than enough. Dark Souls kept me going, but I'd rather say that Dark Souls kept me alive. And with time, Dark Souls taught me that I could do it. No matter what, I can do it. As long as the pushing forward continues, just a bit every time, I can do anything. And I truly believe that you can too. I remember seeing a video long ago in another channel that says something like people that find solace in Dark Souls, or in other games I might add, are actually deluding themselves because they could be instead doing something else to improve their lives. But I think that person clearly missed the point. Sometimes we don't have the strength, the knowledge, nor even the desire to improve our lives. Sometimes we don't know how to do it or even how to want to do it. All we can know in those moments is that we just don't want to give up. Yet. Not completely. And doing those tiny things, such as beating a monster in a game, feels, if even so slightly, or hope bar a bit. It takes time, sure, and for each person is different. But in the end, for me and for others that I have spoken with that have gone through similar situations, it was worth it. Because while the world was seeing us wasting away in our disease while playing video games, we were actually trying to find meaning in the places that, for one reason or another, called up to us more than anything else out there. And I can't think of anything more worthwhile than that. Dark Souls to this day gives me a comfort that almost nothing else can, and even in the darkest days, it can remind me that I can choose my own mission, my own path and my own meaning. That it's up to me, and only up to me to do so. Now, today, my life is different, but the struggle still exists. While a lot better, there are still some bad days, and that is okay. Like having the undead curse, all I can do is to just push forward. Some days I will succeed. Some days I will fall over and over again. And in those days it helps me to remember that I am the one that is pushing forward. I am the one that is trying. I am the one that is falling. Because I am the one that is giving meaning to those things. I am the one that is choosing to kindle the flame, or letting it fade away. Or maybe even to steal it. And knowing that gives me strength. And I know that you can find meaning, that meaning, that reason why, to stand against anything you are going through right now. Just like me, you can do it too. If you watch all the way here, thank you so much. I hope you found at least something useful to take home with you. If you know anyone that you think this video may help, please let them know. I help gamers to improve their lives by uploading videos on live lessons and inspiration every other week. So subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to know more. And please friend, remember, take care of yourself. Don't you dare go hollow.